Hello, it is Monday the 16th of December 2024. I'm Graham Hughes. You're watching Morning Brew on Politics Social. Welcome one, welcome all. If you would like to join the chat next to me here, all you need to do is just subscribe to the channel. That's it. Subscribe and wait for a minute. And then you'll be able to add your opining. You'll be able to opine in the chat here. So today we're talking about being nice. Or also being naughty, being nice, being naughty and nice. There was a vicar or a priest or a bishop, I don't know, this weekend who gave a talk to a bunch of school kids and said that Santa wasn't real. It's a bit rich, coming from a man of the church. You know that guy, right, with the beards, who lives in a magical place, who decides who's been naughty and who's been nice. Yeah, not real. Santa Claus, on the other hand. Anyway, David Murta is saying, be nice because it makes you feel good. Avoid hating people because it gives them power over you. Well, that's very true. Good morning, everyone, says Sarah. Good morning, Sarah. How you doing? We got Diz in the chat. We've got Martin. Also got Billy Kershaw saying, boo-delicious. Got Katrina Bryce in there. Hello, Katrina. Good morning to you. Got Reagan Elite. Hello, Reagan Elite. How you doing? We've got Billy Kershaw in there. We've got Johnny Copperhead. We've also got Ian saying morning. And Siskin Edge, does being naughty involve biting? Not always. But my point was going to be about this, right? There are certain naughty people in the world. They're incredibly naughty. Naughty as in, sadistic serial killers kind of naughtiness. That kind of level of just being a sadistic killer, a psychopath, a sociopath. And they seem to get rewarded for it. We have a system that rewards people for being horrible. We have a system that rewards people who are rich for going to private school, which they had no power over. It was something that their parents foisted them into. But, they get the benefits from that. But it's okay because their mum comes from a very working class background. And then you've got the people who don't want to pay tax and they don't need to because they're rich. And then when, they might have to be forced to pay tax by a new government, they go fucking ballistic. They go crazy. They lose their shit. How dare you make me pay tax? Like normal people. Then you got corporations who are like practically encouraged not just not pay tax, but also get loads of money off you and I, taxpayers. For I don't know, government funding for their charitable endeavours, making $1 trillion through drilling gunk out of the ground and then burning it to the detriment of the health of literally every living thing on the planet. They deserve government subsidies more than, I don't know, a single mum struggling to make ends meet, living off pot noodles and wondering why their 5-year-old child is a foot shorter than they would be if they were born in any other country in the world. They deserve the money. And then you got rich people who don't want to have to abide by the laws that we have to abide by. Like Elon Musk doesn't have to abide by those laws that say that you're not allowed to have monopolies or, not allowed to tell people that you're going to give them a car and then get loads of money off them for the car. And then you don't even bother making the car, even though you've taken like loads of money off these people. Normally for me and you, that would be fraud. If you said in 2018, hey, I'm going to give you a car, I'm going to make a car for you. And someone gave you $50,000 and you went, oh, thank you very much for that $50,000. And then you took that $50,000 and you went on holiday to Acapulco. And here we are in 2024, 6 years on, and you still haven't got them a car. You'd probably go to jail for that. Or maybe we could talk about the landlords out there, the buy-to-let landlords. Before 1996, buy-to-let was not allowed. You had to, if you're going to get a mortgage, you had to be A, a man, and B, you had to actually live in the house. Otherwise, you couldn't get a mortgage. I mean, you could still buy property, you just couldn't get a mortgage on it. And that all changed in the 70s. Women could actually get a mortgage without a man, which, progress. And then in the 90s, not only did rape become illegal in marriage, wow, we really moved on, didn't we? Wow. The 90s, the literal 90s, that's how long that took. It's still illegal to be gay in the 90s. To get married, to be gay under the age of 21, or to talk about being gay in school. Yeah, section 28, which seems to be coming back now for trans people. You know, things come around. And it's been instigated by a shiny-faced gay person, which is really weird. Like, why would a gay person decide to punish trans people like that? I don't know, but I digress. Talking about buy-to-let mortgages basically means that you could go into a bank if you had a bit of wodge, or you already had a house, right? You already paid off mortgage on your house in which you live, and you say, hey, I've got an idea rather than working for a living. Why don't we go to the bank and ask them for a loan to buy another house, and what I'll do is we'll put someone in that house, and they can work every hour God sends in order to pay off that loan for me. That's a really fucked up system, guys. Can we take a step back and go, that's just messed up? That is just it's just objectively messed up. I know we've grown up with it, so we think it's normal, but let me tell you, it's not normal, or at least it shouldn't be normal. Or even better, if the person in your house is on income support, any kind of benefits, universal credit, the taxpayer paying their rent or subsidising their rent is actually subsidising a private landlord who's already rich enough to own multiple properties to pay off a mortgage on a property they do not need. And that's working, by the way. You know, being a landlord, it's a full-time job of having to make a phone call every 8 months to an electrician, perhaps. Anyway, so yeah, what's the point of being nice? That's the question I want to ask you this morning. What is the point of being nice? Obviously, David has said because it makes you feel good. But aside from that, like, why aren't we all horrible? Like, it seems to be we have created a world in which if you are horrible, you get rewards. The man who is an adjudicated rapist not only has been elected as the most powerful person in the world by 70 million Americans, he's also just sued a news network for calling him a rapist, which he is. And they've had to pay $15 million out for calling him a rapist, which Donald Trump is a rapist. So, you know, there's that. So now we have a situation in which you can be a criminal, you can be an adjudicated rapist, someone in a court of law has found that you are guilty of sexual assault. And not only can you come out, you know, on top of the world, literally, you can also sue anyone who calls you a rapist, even though you were found to be a rapist. So what's the point of being nice when, you know, people from the church are telling us that God doesn't exist? Sorry, Santa Claus. Sorry, I always get those two mixed up. So just explain to me, just for 1 second, the difference, right? So there's a guy who was invented a long time ago to make, like, people do good things, right? And he's got a beard for some reason, and it's a he. And they have a list of who's been naughty and who's been nice. Am I talking about Santa or am I talking about God? Like, can someone explain to me the difference there? Because I don't think there is one. Just between you and me. I don't want to ruin Christmas for anyone, so maybe they both exist. But on the off chance that the whole religion thing isn't quite reality, what's the point of being nice? It doesn't seem to get you anywhere. It certainly doesn't get you any money. We talk about this a lot on this channel and perhaps on other channels. I don't know. If you want to make real money, don't do this. That's why a lot of the people doing what I'm doing here and what Supertansky's doing and Aid Thompson and others and Phil, a lot of those people who are doing that are doing it because they can afford to do it. And then you got people like me and Tan, and they really can't afford to do it. But we feel compelled. We feel compelled to just keep plugging away in the hope that one day we might get through to someone. And they might go, yeah, I'm going to stop being a jerk now. I'm going to stop supporting Brexit. I'm going to stop supporting Trump. I'm going to stop supporting Boris Johnson in everything he does. Like Boris Johnson. There you go. Another man who's just horribly, horrible. This is a guy who ratted on one of his friends to another friend who he gave the address to so that other friend could go beat that person up. That other friend, Darius Guppy, ended up going to jail, actually. So criminal friend. A guy who forced his mistress to have 2 of his abortions and then lied about it to the then leader of the Conservative Party, resulting in him being kicked out of the shadow cabinet. A man who lied to the Queen, lied to his editors, lied to his wives, lied to his children, lied to the country, the world, lied to absolutely everyone. And, he's all right. He's not the Prime Minister anymore, thank God. But he's not got into real, hot water. Or you could look at Liz Truss, a woman who tanked our economy, blew a £425 million black hole in our pension funds, and doubled the cost of everyone's mortgage. And she's all right. She's still doing talk. Like, people pay to see her talk. Unbelievably. Oh, there you go. Scott Wilson's just dropped £10 in the Super Chat fund, maybe to tell me why I should be nice. Brian Taylor Cohen suggested the 15 million settlement was actually the accursed newspaper just kissing, the accused newspaper just kissing the ring. Yes. Yeah. So why be nice? Why not just be horrible? And we've seen in the last week or so that if you are extremely horrible to another human being who arguably deserves it, not mentioning any names, but you can become a bit of a folk hero. So where's the line? Where do we draw the line? Because I think we're standing on a precipice at the moment. I don't go for the Midas touch. Brian, is it Brian Taylor Cohen? Does he do it that much? No, it's Midas touch. You do it the worst, I think. Oh my God! Somebody said something, a word wrong in an interview that no one watched. That's it. Trump is finished. The Republican Party is dead. They've been imploded. Nuked. They've been nuked. They have. It's a nuclear bomb. It's gone off. Everyone's dead. Everyone on the right is dead as a result of this. And I'm like, that's a bit clickbaity, isn't it? And for someone who does have to do a clickbaity sort of thumbnail each day, it's kind of like, okay, I can see why they do it, but isn't it depressing that they have to do it that way, like to get people to click? And the same with that Times Radio and the military show, is it? That go, Putin is on his knees. He's dead. He died 5 days ago, and the battle is over. The war is lost, and Russia is finished, and Putin is finished. And I'm like, okay, you've been saying this for the last couple of years, mate. I hope spring's eternal, as they say, but come on, can we live in reality for a little bit? Anyway, it's getting off the point. Why be nice? Why be nice when Liz Truss walks the earth? She got kicked out of her job, and yet people still want to give her money. The Heritage Foundation, the Federalist Society, 55 Tufton Street, and the mysteriously funded think tanks still want to give her money. The industrial military complex and the fossil fuel companies still want to give her money, and she's doing all right. Thank you very much. Most of them are doing all right, even though they've caused a lot of pain and harm. Has Michelle Mone gone to jail with her husband, Thingy Barrowman? Doug Barrowman is his name. Are they in jail? Nope. They stole £200 million off the taxpayer, and she spent it on a yacht and took a picture of herself, put it on Instagram of her and her fucking yacht. Are they in jail? Are they? Fuck. But, you don't pay your council tax because you can't afford it. You go to jail, even though you only owe like £199. So what's the point? What's the point of being nice? And yeah, like I was going to say, there is a huge pull for people like myself to just go over to the dark side. I'm not going to. Don't worry, I'm really not going to. But, I mean, that's the way to make money in this game. If you want to actually have a successful platform, you either have to lean heavily into the clickbaity kind of stuff, or you just go to the right and they just lavish you with money. And this is painful because if you think about it, the left do not appreciate their content creators. They don't help them in any way, shape or form. We called this channel Labour Social because we thought that maybe the Labour Party would ignore us, but maybe some Labour people, like Labour donors, might look at what we're doing and go, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, you've got people on and they're being positive about Labour. That's all right. You know, we'll back you. We'll fund you at least for a couple of months, or just at all, just a couple of grand. I mean, you know, not much to a millionaire. But no one was interested. So we changed the name of the channel to Politics Social, because then we can just spend our whole time slagging off Labour if we want to, like some latter-day Owen Jones. But we're not going to do that. We might do a little bit. We'll be a little bit critical of Labour, but, you know, while still bearing in mind the fact that they've only been in power for 6 months, and the Tories were way worse. But that doesn't excuse the likes of the shiny face guy. What's his name? Shiny face thingy. You know, the health guy with no experience in the health sector at all, who's running around now banning puberty blockers for trans kids. Not for cisgender kids, but just for trans kids. Because, you see, you give it to cisgender kids, that's fine. There's no side effects. It's completely safe. But if you give it to trans kids, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. It suddenly turned into a dangerous drug that is irreversible, except for the fact that it's completely reversible. If you stop taking the puberty blockers, you enter puberty. It's the way it works. It's not like it blocks it for life. But whatever. I've forgotten his bloody name. Wes, says Sarah Davis. Yes, Wes something. Anderson. Wes Anderson? Wesley Crusher. Shut up, Wesley. Oh, do you know what? That'd be brilliant. We should do. Is his name Wesley? Is that what it actually is? I want. We should have him like talking in the House of Commons, and then we should have the speaker is Patrick Stewart, and he just goes, "Shut up, Wesley." That'd be great. But no, he's a menace. The guy's an absolute menace. But anyway, again, not being very nice, and seems to get away with it. So yeah, let's see what you say. Mistakes happen, says Ringley's. You're good people, Graham. Oh, thank you very much, Sarah. Nice is better than nasty. Is nice naive, though, says Peter Paint Gartner. That's the question. Are we just naive? Are we just like, should we just be a bit more dog eat dog? Should we just be a bit more sort of, thinking about ourselves and screwing over people? I say no. Do you know why I say no? Because I look at it this way, right? I think that on your deathbed, you're not going to be looking back over the things that you bought. This is my little sort of thought experiment. You're going to be looking back over the things you bought. Nah, you're going to be looking back over the things you did. And if you chose not to do things because, you just decided that you were going to make your career your absolute everything in your life and you'd worked really hard. I hate that expression. It's supposed that like other people don't work hard, and there's some jobs that, are harder work than others, i.e. Working in an office is harder work than working down a mine. And I don't believe that. I think that working down a mine is much harder than working in an office. I don't care what you're doing in the office, but all things being equal, working down the mine is harder work. So don't give me this, only worked hard. It's something that billionaires say. Should we make a list of things that billionaires really need to stop saying? Or millionaires, rich people. Rich people need to stop saying, my mum's family are very working class. They need to stop saying that. They need to stop using the term politics of envy. Like, just stop it. They need to stop saying, nobody gave me anything. Along with working, I worked hard. Yeah, okay, so does everyone. Nobody gave me anything. I love that. Especially if someone says it and they went to a private school. I'm like, pretty sure they did. Maybe you're like Trump, you got a small loan of £500 million off your dad, maybe. I don't know. But even if you didn't, even if you grew up in actual poverty, and then you go, oh, nobody gave us anything. Yes, they did. Yeah, they did. Because someone built that road that your house was built on. Someone built the house. You didn't build your own house. You didn't pop out your mum, build a house. He also, didn't build the road that you walk down to the school that you didn't build or pay for yourself, using streetlights that you didn't build or pay for, and you just flush your shit down some sewers that you did not build or pay for yourself for the first 18 years of your life. So, good luck with the whole, nobody gave me anything. We gave you society. We gave you, like, the apparatus and the infrastructure of modern life. You didn't build the internet. You didn't program it. You didn't put all the computers into it. You didn't build all the computers. It's like, I'm an author. I'm an author. I write books, darling. Nobody gave me anything yet. Do you know what they gave you? They gave you the fact that everyone can read. You didn't pay for that. You didn't pay to teach all the children in the country to read so they could buy your fucking book. If you didn't have that, you wouldn't sell any copies if no one could read, could you? Stop saying it. Stop saying it. Stop saying this shit. Nobody gave me anything. Oh, I'm a self-made millionaire. No, you're not. Nobody is a self-made millionaire. It's why, if Elon Musk was a black kid born in South Africa when he was born, he would not be the world's richest man right now. He could be born in exactly the same place in Pretoria, just down the road, I guess, in the township outside Pretoria, because when Elon Musk was born, you weren't allowed to be South African and black. You had to have a passport to get into the towns to do work, and then you had to leave by the curfew. You had to leave. So to just leave all the cities to the white people who lived there. That was the system that Elon Musk loves. Elon Musk, who says there's not enough people in the world. There's 8 billion people on the planet. And he's like, oh, it's not enough. It's not enough. There needs to be more people. We need more people. Say what you really mean, Elon. Say what you really mean. Go on, say it. There needs to be more people. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Yeah, but there needs to be more people. What do you really mean, Elon? There needs to be more white people. That's what he means. There needs to be more white people. That's what he really means. Because he's a Nazi. That's a white, racist South African. No, that never happens. And now he's the richest man in the world by a mile. He's just past the $400 million mark. And he's a horrible, nasty man. He's a horrible, nasty racist. So why be nice? Why be nice in this world, in this era in which we live? Does the nice guy finish last? That's the question. The issue was many Labour voters didn't support Starmer. Okay, well, there's enough of them. Not taking blockers is irreversible, says Katrina. You're absolutely right. Graham, you were great on the roast, by the way. Oh, thank you very much, Sir Alistair. Yeah, I felt a bit outnumbered. I did feel a bit. It's like, is everyone here really fucking posh apart from me? Yeah. Anyway, bootstraps, says Johnny. Yeah, you pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Yeah. At what point do you look at the Labour Party and think this party doesn't represent me anymore and is actually attacking the people I care about? I think that the Labour Party, I mean, especially West Streeting, is attacking people that I care about, and it's pissing me off. But I want to stay in the tent and try to change them rather than go to another party that might do exactly the same thing. I mean, the Greens have had trouble with transphobia in their party as well. And then you've got the Lib Dems, who had a leader, Tim Farron, doesn't agree with people being gay because of his religion or something. Jesus didn't say anything about being gay. He said, don't have an affair. He said that 3 times. He said, don't have an affair. Don't be unfaithful in your marriage. He mentioned that 3 times. He didn't mention being gay at all, or slavery. I really need to point this out whenever people talk about the good man, Jesus Christ. He didn't mention slavery. So if you think slavery is wrong and you're vocal about it, I guess, if you had to write a book on morality and if you would put into that book, hey, slavery, that's a bad thing. You've got better morals than the son of the inventor of the universe, apparently. Which is a bit odd, but then kind of explains everything that the church does. Because there's another guy, the Archbishop of York, this weekend. Turns out that he knew about this nonce who was running around the church, sexually abusing young people. And they said, oh, well, we can't sack him, That's beyond the remit. You can't sack someone for being a bit massive nonce. I think you can. I think you can. I think you can sack them, especially if you're an archbishop. Anyway, I digress. But yes, it does seem a bit odd to me that people hold up this guy from 2,000 years ago as this, this moral savior of mankind, and yeah, some of the things that are done in his name, not so moral. So, is it justice then? Is it the idea that there will be some justice at the end of all this? That at some point Musk will go to jail for his many, many crimes? That Trump will go to jail for his many, many crimes? I don't know. Al-Assad is still alive. He's going to live out the rest of his life in a palace in St. Petersburg. That's what he's going to do. Simple as that. I mean, it's going to be a bit colder than Syria. Well, Syria gets quite cold in the winter. But, at the end of the day, he's going to have servants and he's going to ring a bell and they're going to bring him food. And then he'll pass away in a four-poster bed, possibly with gold leaf trimmings. And just like Idi Amin did. He died in Saudi Arabia in a palace. Idi Amin of Uganda, a man who killed hundreds of thousands of his own people. A guy who murdered thousands of disabled people. They rounded up all the disabled people they could find in Kampala and killed them all. Literally drove them to Lake Victoria, and pushed them in the lake. And he died an old man in his bed. Robert Mugabe, guy who not only, people hear a lot about the white farmers who had their land taken from them under Mugabe, and that was horrific and bad and not a good thing. It's not about being white or being black. It's about being able to farm. And Zimbabwe went from being the breadbasket of Southern Africa to becoming the basket case of Southern Africa. But aside from that, right, and you can see sort of, if you squint really hard, the imperialistic connotations, and the fact that they lived under white rule for so long, and you could see that, the idea of wealth distribution, the concept behind it, you could sort of, like I say, you squint your eyes a lot, you kind of get on board with it, but that's not the way they did it, because that's not the way to redistribute wealth. And did lead to hyperinflation and $15 trillion banknotes. But the other thing that Mugabe did was he had a project called Clear Out the Trash or something. It was called Clean Out the Trash in the capital, Harare. And essentially it meant rounding up all the homeless people and killing them. Yep, he did that. And he lived till a ripe old age, about 94, and died an old man in his sleep. And you kind of think, well, shouldn't he have been punished for that? Shouldn't he? But here's the thing. We have a thing called the United Nations. And this was set up in the wake of World War II to stop that kind of thing ever happening again. Unfortunately, it has a Security Council, and there's 5 permanent members on the Security Council, each of which can veto any resolution that the UN makes. And those 5 members are Britain, France, USA, China, and Russia. So if there's anything that's going to stand in the way of unbridled capitalism, unfettered capitalism, anything that stands in the way of the market deciding who lives and who dies, deciding who's been naughty and who's been nice, let's leave it to the market to decide. Which is even more mad than leaving it to a big guy from the North Pole. But they're going to veto that, aren't they? So that's the US going to veto that. Anything that's pro-democracy. We don't like democracy in China. So any countries, resolutions putting forward to say, hey, we should encourage countries to be more democratic, it's going to be kiboshed by the Chinese, who are going to say, no, vetoing that. And then anything that's, anti-corruption, money laundering, giving loads of money to the mafia. Yeah, that's got to be vetoed by Russia. So yeah, great system, absolutely ineffective, doesn't do anything. The other thing the UN does is it actually does in some ways more harm than good, because what the UN does, and this is something that I've talked about Trump now being given these historically amped up powers. Like, the president of the United States is the most powerful man in the world, but they've never been this powerful. They've never been in a position where the Supreme Court said, you are now above the law. However, because the presidential model is bullshit, and I hate it, and I don't think any country should have it unless it's a president who is a ceremonial president, like what they have in Germany or India. No, this is someone or Ireland, this is someone who's actually in charge of the government, the head of state, head of government, head of the Secret Service, head of the FBI, head of the CIA, head of the armed services, head of the Coast Guard, head of the Postal Service, for fuck's sake. Like, it's mad, okay? Objectively, it is mad that you would give one little squishy human that much power. Right. However, up to this point, at least the American one had this, they couldn't break the law. However, that didn't apply to a lot of world leaders, a lot of world presidents around the world up till now. I mean, and continuing now. So, this is a thing where the UN says, we will prosecute you for your crimes that you have committed while in office. But not while you're in office. So essentially, they've said, we are not going to take anyone to task who is still the leader of their country. It's why Slobodan Milosevic wasn't brought before the War Crimes Tribunal in The Hague until he wasn't president of Serbia anymore. Up to that point, he was untouchable. But once he was deposed, you could put him on trial. So, where's the incentive to ever stand down as the president of a country if you know that you face an international court when you step down? You have another example with Benjamin Netanyahu, who will never step down now, because if he does, he'll go to jail. If not in Israel for the many crimes he's committed there, but maybe in the international law courts where he is wanted as an international war criminal. But only if he stands down. Only if he's not the prime minister of Israel anymore. And this is a really stupid system because all it does is encourages people like Putin and like other dictators around the world to just say, well, I'll tell you what, I'll change the constitution so I am president or leader, prime minister, whatever, for life. And there's nothing you can do about it because there's no incentive to be nice. There's no incentive to face the music. And it's why I believe, and I know a lot of people disagree with me, but it's why I believe that Trump is going to be the president until the day he dies. Well, some of us are hoping that might be sooner rather than later, but I think that's the fact. I will put money on it. And these Democrats talking about, well, the midterms are coming up. It's only 2 years to the midterms. I'm like, oh, bless. They think they're getting midterms. I don't know if I've got the heart to tell them. Anyway, let's see what you've got to say, because I've got to go soon, because it's 3 minutes past 10. I've yacked on far enough. At what point... Oh, I've read that. Clubid Boroscope. Server. What transphobe don't tell people is that gender surgery was used during World War to help soldiers injured in battle, especially FTM surgery. Indeed. I mean, look, I believe that people's bodies are sacrosanct. Like, what they want to do with their bodies, as long as it's not hurting anyone else, and as long as they're, a sane adult, it's up to them. And we need to give love and support to people for who they want to be. And this whole thing of like dead naming people, it's really, I mean, forget about just how horrible it is just in general, but it's just rude. It's just rude to get people's names wrong on purpose. I bristle when people get my name wrong. I don't like it when people spell my name wrong. I don't think I'm alone in that. I just think it's rude. I think it's like, God, just learn to spell my fucking name. I mean, I know there's 2 ways of spelling Graham, but there's actually 3. Some people put an E on the end of the way I spell it. But, just find the way I spell it and copy that. Just copy and paste the way I spell it. I mean, it's not like I'm hard to find on the internet. But, when it comes to people's names, it's like, if you consistently call a married woman who has changed her surname to her husband's name, which I disagree with, like cards on the table, if I ever got married, and I've been told I'm not allowed to call it a wedding, I'll have to call it Graham's Big Fat Hypocrite Party. But that aside, if I ever did get married, I would not expect my partner to take my name. Because I just think it's weird and arcane and just weird, and I don't like it. I just think it's weird, right? It's just a patriarchal nonsense, right? I could go into this a lot more, but I'm not going to because we've got to wrap up in a minute. But if I was to say to someone who was married, if I continuously referred to them by their maiden name, even when it upset them, they'll I could understand why, that they wouldn't want to hang out with me anymore. They wouldn't want to be my friend anymore because it's fucking rude. It's just rude. But let's take it another level. Say a woman is in a relationship, married to a man who abuses them, and they get divorced and they go back to their maiden name, but you, because you're a little snarky little shit, you decide to keep calling them by their married name, knowing this. Not an innocent mistake. Not an, oh, sorry, God, you got your name wrong there. You continuously call, and they say, please, will you call me by my maiden name? That name is of an abuser of me. That's not my name. I have changed my name because I got divorced. I've changed my... And you continue to do it? That is the actions of an absolute clanger. An absolute gobshite would do that. And it's the same with dead naming people. Like, that's not the name they want to be called. Don't call them it. As you know... I don't know. I think in the past, people thought it was funny. I think probably in the past, I may have thought it was funny if someone changed their name, to something else that I thought was a bit daft. But these days, I mean, it's become something that is kind of serious, especially when it's talking about people. It's trying to take down people's sense of self-worth and take down their identity. I'm surely that's one of the things that should be yours, along with your body, like your identity. People stealing your identity, not in the way that, hackers steal your identity to raid your bank account, but like someone taking your name from you is just disgusting. It's just a disgusting idea. You should be able to be called what you want to be called. Anyway, as long as it's not offensive. No, Graham, but maybe their actions will have a positive effect on the future and people like them will be held to account, says Scott. Well, hope springs eternal, my friend. Katrina says the way to distribute that sort of wealth is inheritance tax on farmers. Yes. Well, landowners. Stop saying farmers. Landowners. Remember, it's Biden. Remember those lords who wrote the Magna Carta, which King John desperately tried to tear up, had no intention of doing anything fair for the common people, just themselves, not including the church. Yes. Biden says, Biden Flavor Corn Pop says, Anthony Booth did such a good job in Death to Us Part. He's a great nephew of John Wilkes Booth, the guy who shot Lincoln, and the father of Sherry Booth. You know who's a wife. Haha. What? That's really random. Okay, timed out. What? I kept my married name after divorce. Couldn't be asked to change it all again. Smiley. Yeah, but I mean, there you go. Leaction, okay, who triggered Graham? What? No one triggered me. Did Graham just stop? No, I didn't just stop. Oh, shit. My internet went off. Oh, man. What? Sorry. We had a glitch. My internet just decided to turn itself off for no good reason. I think I'm back. Am I back? Am I? 50p for the meter. Have a good day. Let me know if you can see me again. Oh, this is the Russians. The Russians. I tell you, it's the Russians. Slight buffering. Says BUFU Mike. Sorry about that. I appear to have dropped 20% of the frames of this video. That's an insane number of frames to drop. We are still on. Oh no, we've gone back to 4. With my internet. At about 1 frame per second. Says Katrina. Yeah, I can see my internet speed oscillating wildly. I don't know what the bloody hell's going on there. All right, well listen, I better call it a day because the internet gods are kicking my ass. Tonight I'm going to try and do an episode of Stateside. I've not organised anything yet with Brenna or Mikey, so we'll see. But if we can do an episode of Stateside, we will do an episode of Stateside at 8 o'clock tonight. We'll be talking about what the shit is going on in America. What the shit, America? That's what we should call it. Instead of Stateside, let's call it What the Shit, America. Or WTF. WTF, America. That's it. That's the new name for it. It's Musk Starlink jamming you up. You're all good, Graham. Cheer up, lad. It's all right. Anyway, so in conclusion, be nice because you're only here once, and you know, you don't want people cheering once you're gone, which is what's going to happen to a lot of these right-wing grifters. I mean, even if they don't go to jail, it's going to be people celebrating. And let's not forget that in Syria, the tomb of the dad of al-Assad, Bashar's dad, has been pillaged, and you know, not great things happen to you, I guess, after you die. If people decide that you were a tyrant, you'll go down in history, not like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but like a gobshite, like Hitler. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Hopefully I'll see you at 8 o'clock tonight. If not, I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30. And until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.